Guys, we will start sharply at 4. We should wait for a few participants right now. So you can unmute yourself now. It's going to be 4.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mahima, are you there?
Yes, I am here only.
Sir, I think that we should wait for some time, like for 3 or 4 minutes, for a few
No
more
problem.
participants.
No
Yes,
problem.
sir. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay, so sir, I think now we should start with it, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm. Okay. So, a very good evening to everyone. Hope you all are doing good at this time and are at pink of health in this mid of this pandemic. So here I am Janvi Sharma, the founder of Vedic Movement, and today we have Advocate Yogesh Swaroop as a guest speaker, who is a profound and eminent advocate in Delhi. And I must tell you guys that he is practicing for last 27 years, and he mostly practices in Delhi High Court and Supreme Court of India. So now, without wasting any time, directly comes to the today's topic, that is drugs and youth. As we can see today, the issue of drugs and narcotics is raising very much in the society, because our youth are not aware what are the legal repercussions of having the drugs, consuming the drugs, and dealing with the drugs. Now we are here concerned with the legal aspect of the drug consumption, its offences, and the youth which is not aware about the legal repercussion of the consumption of drugs. Now I would like Advocate Yogesh Swaroop to throw some light on the topic. Sir, it's a
Yes.
great honor to have you with us on the platform of Vedic movement. So,
Thank you.
sir,
Thank you
please
so
proceed
much.
with the topic. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, friends. So, the topic is drugs and youth. It's a worldwide problem, as we can all see. That is a worldwide problem of drug abuse, and it is a crime also. And if I share with you that it is the crime related to narcotic drugs is a well organized crime and probably the best organized crime in the world. So, and the prime victim of this drug abuse is obviously the youth. So we
Yes, sir.
are taking it to the logical discussion that why the youth is there in this as a victim, and also the legal aspects of this drug abuse. First of all, I would like to say that there are countries even are involved in this kind of practice. They have made their policies like that. They have made the law. I mean, they are taking it as a tool to get astray, to get directionless the youth of other countries. So, if we see that what kind of data we are having, you see that the persons in India itself who have been arrested for this offense and the offense under section under the Narcotic Drugs Act, the persons 2015, including the person foreigners are in India, 32 around 32,000 persons were arrested under this act. So in 2016, it comes to 38,000 around, but there was a sudden hike, and you see how this crime, how this drug abuse suddenly raised, and it was 56,000 persons arrested in 2017. So day by day, this crime, this well organized crime, this drug abuse is making victim of the youth as well as other persons also, but directly and mainly the youth. So if we also have the data in India, so 13.1%. It's a very big number and a very, very dangerous to any country. In India, the people involved in substance of in India below the age of 20 years. So it is a data collected by the official publication of India, Psychiatric Society. So if we believe that 13% of the youth below the age of 20 is consuming any kind of substance which is narcotic, so we can see the repercussion, we can assume the repercussion of the drugs in future. Their capability, their living style, all will be affected by them. So now I come to the, this is the clinic based survey that 63% out of these 13% have to take the treatment after they consume the drug. So severe is the problem. And even at the age of 12, 12.4, 13, 13.6, this is the average. I'm telling you, the youth is going to have tobacco, going to have inhale, and cannabis, alcohol, and all at the age of 15. At the age of 15, they inhale the drugs and they also take the drugs through injections. So matter is over. All the drugs are available to a person who is less than 15 or around 15. So this is a difficult situation. If we see that this kind of situation is there, then the youth is will definitely go astray. That is the problem with this not only country India, but all the countries having worldwide. So there was only single convention of 1961. There was one convention in 1961 where all the countries who have taken it as a serious problem met there and decided to make a journal law, a journal, uh, make it a crime in the countries who are having the problems of this type. So I say it was only one convention. There was only single convention in 1961 in which 161 drugs were prohibited, found to be intoxicated, found to be narcotics, and found to be the dangerous for the youth as well as any person who can consume it, who will consume it, and get the losses and the dangerous side effects of these drugs. So, nutshell 116, the number of drugs. Those drugs are based, plant based, as opium, and derivatives of its morphine, codeine, heroin, all kinds of derivatives of opium, and synthetic narcotics like methadone and pethidine. So, and beside that, cannabis, cocoa, and cocaine are the other drugs mainly covered the all 116 these items. In India also, 111, I think 111 drugs are prohibited under the act, that these are drugs not to be taken because these are the narcotic drugs. And by taking these drugs, the person cannot control his mind, and over the period of time, he can be either he will be the regular taker of these medicines, I mean drugs, and all the persons will get the bad effect of the same. That is no doubt that there will be a bad effect, only bad effect of these drugs. So INCB yellow list, they have decided to get it down, noted down, and there was INCB yellow list, which was given by the in this convention, and forms are also there. So to decide whether these are the drugs not to be taken, and the law, the countries made the convention that the law will would be made in these countries in consonance with this convention. So after this, there was some restriction to that. Even today, the problem is same. The consumption, we are not in a position to control it. So there are many laws in this regard in different countries.
So, sir, can you please throw some light on what are the laws regarding to the this drug abuse in India?
Yes, in India, there is a central act, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act 1985. That is the act govern all crime related to the drugs. And there are two words, narcotic and psychotropic. So the drugs which are prohibited have been mentioned, as I have mentioned, 111, 111 drugs are mentioned in this act, to say that these are the drugs not to be taken, because this is the thing, that these drugs are also used in medical line and also for the purposes of research. So in convention also, it was restricted to only to use in a medical line and also for the purposes of research. Other than
Yes, sir.
use of these drugs are prohibited. So is here in India. So license are issued for the purposes of cultivation, and without having any license, there is a this is a crime to cultivate opium and all its derivatives, and opium poppies and opium itself. So the law is related to control these drugs not to be taken by the person without any medical prescription, or the research is to be done on these drugs for using them in medicines. So the only prohibition is not to take it, or not to consume it, or not to make it sale, or not to produce it, or not to cultivate it in a manner. If a person gets bad effect of this and using it without any prescription, without any after any medical research. So that is the only criteria and the basic formation of this law. Now you will see the consumption, the cultivation, the production, the export, import, everything is prohibited under this act. As we see that there are categories where are the this has been and moreover, if a person is got license to cultivate it, and if he doesn't do in the line of the license and the terms and condition, then it is also an offense. If a person is in contravention of the license or embezzlement, that is also an offense, because sometime he is the company or the person or the whatever he it may be cultivated as per the norms, but embezzlement the same, and got it produced more than that what is required, what is licensed. So that is also an offense under this act. And there are categories of a small quantity, and
Okay.
small more than is small, but less than commercial quantity and commercial
So
quantity.
what do you mean by smaller and commercial quantity?
As you see that all the drugs are not having the same effect. Some of the drugs are having much effect, some of the drugs are having lower effect. The central government, by its notification and by making publication of and by making law in this regard, can make the category of a small quantity, because lesser than a small quantity, then there would be other repercussions in law. If the quantity is commercial, then the punishment and the repercussions would be high. And if it is between commercial and smaller quantity, then repercussion would be different. As I may tell you, that section 22 deals with this. If a person deals, produce, sale, or anything, do it and use it, and it is the commercial, it is the lesser quantity, I mean small quantity,
Yes,
then the
sir.
punishment is 1 year. And if it is more than the quantity which is smaller, then the punishment would be up to 10 years. And if suppose it is commercial quantity, more than commercial quantity, and any quantity more than commercial, then it would be a punishment not less than 10 years. So it is very important. Every drug has its own effect, and having of smaller, larger, and this commercial quantity is very important while dealing with this law and while having the repercussion of the same.
Okay, sir. So, sir, whether consumption is also an offense?
Yes, consumption is also an offense. Though the person is treated to be a victim of the this drug abuse, but it is an offense under Section 27 of the Act itself. It is an offense, and it is punishable with the 1 year punishment and fine as well, and as well as both. But you see, the beautiful the beauty of this act is the if a person repeats its offense, whether he consumes, whether he deals, whether he sells, whether he produces, whether he cultivates anything, if the person is a habitual of doing this, then there would be a larger punishment, there will be a grave punishment. It is not that the first time he'll get the lesser punishment, but the second time or the afterward, it will be a grave punishment for the using or doing dealing in this drugs. Finances,
Okay.
abatement, and all. If you say abatement, financing of it, and attempt, it's a very important thing. Attempt in this act is also punishable with the same punishment, which is punishment for doing the offense.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, we got a question from YouTube stream.
Yes.
When Rakshit Atri has asked the question, he said that, "Good evening, sir. I have a question about legalizing of cannabis in India. Don't you think if they are legalized, the economy will be boosted as government will get a huge amount of revenues from it?"
We will have to, the government and every country will have to see the balance. If by having income enhanced, by having the boost in the economy, if the youth will be destroyed, if the youth will use it and will not having a sense, so what is the benefit of that boosting of that economy? So it is to be seen. So that is why these drugs are used in medicines. So research, every time research is going on these drugs, that how much of the drug can be used in a medicine, how much of the drug can get out of the person from depression. There are so many medicines. That is a field of an expert who can tell us about the repercussions of medicines in how much quantity. But we are not here to say that. But at the same time, we can't say that the boosting the economy is the only thing. We have certainly have to have in our mind that the youth and the person and the men and the entire nation is also and more and much more important than the economy itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. So, sir, I would like to ask you that what is the highest punishment can be given in the act? Like, we talk about that consumption is also an offense. So, my next question would be that what is the
Yes.
highest punishment can be given in this
You
act?
see, there are very deadly punishment in this act, and it is up to death punishment. In 31A, section 31A, it goes to death sentence also. So, as compared to IPC, Indian Penal Code, here are very severe punishments, because we consider it to be a severe punishment if it is given that the minimum punishment is there. And in so many sections, in so many offenses, there are minimum punishment in this act, not less than 5 years, not less than 10 years, and even up to 10, even up to death. So by saying not less than 10 years, and the fine up to 1 lakh, and the fine may exceed to 2 lakh, so there are severe punishment, keeping in view that we cannot execute our youth, we cannot destroy our youth, and we cannot the population of the person and the country is made by the uh, generation and the living beings. So we cannot have compromise with that.
Okay,
We can't
so
compromise with that.
yes, so
So now I'm coming that this is the situation. You can see consumption, export, import, and quantity. Everything is there, codified in the, and the punishment is there. And one certain thing I would like to bring it to your all notice in all of yours, that there is a section 185 of Motor Vehicle Act, 1988. Very interestingly, it is, if I'm reading the section, driving by a drunken person or by a person under the influence of drug. Whoever, while driving or attempt to drive a motor vehicle, Part A, has in his blood alcohol exceeding 30 mg per ml of blood detected in a test, very important, it is by a breath analyzer. And the second
yes,
one is
sir.
B, is under the influence of a drug to such an extent as to incapable of exercising proper control over the vehicle. So there is a specific thing about the alcohol. When a person is driving having alcohol, so there is a specific uh, degree, that this much of degree is acceptable, and beyond that it is an offense. But you see, our police or the investigating agency, are they well equipped with the equipment? Can they get test the person who is having the drugs or who is under the impression of drug? Can it be checked at the spot? It is very difficult. So it
Yes,
is,
sir, it is very
there
difficult
should
and
be,
it's not
yes,
possible even.
yes, it is to be, it is to keep in the mind, and we should make certain laws. Otherwise,
Hmm.
under the influence of some drug, there would be no check, there would be no test at the spot, and there would be no, I mean, degree or limit. So this is difficult to accept these kinds of laws. So we have to enhance our laws in that
Yes,
respect
sir.
also.
Yes, absolutely, sir. So, sir, would you like to tell anything more about it?
Yes, what I suggest and what we can discuss and what we all can suggest to our agencies, to government and all, that there should be some uh, good things, some measures, and some preventive things would be there, so that the this problem can be minimized, can be. I mean, I want that there should be no problem, such problem, but at least we can minimize it, because at the national level the policies matters. International level and the national level policy should be made of that, because the person, the mafia who is dealing with these kind of drugs, I mean drug mafia, they are very very strong. So over the period of time, and of course by the means of I think internet and all that, they are very powerful and they are very united to have this crime to be performed. So their nexus to be turned down, because if their connectivity, their nexus is there, then very difficult to fight with. So at the national level and the international level, as I have said, there is only one convention. There must be some more, I mean, meetings and conventions should be there to deal with these kind of problems, because it is an international problem. National borders are not, I mean, in a position to stop these, because the countries are also doing, making the policies to get destroy the youth of the other country. So there should be some serious convention on that. Rehabilitation center. You can say the rehabilitation centers should be, number of rehabilitation centers should be enhanced, because the person should not be treated as a outcast and out of the society. The sympathetic view may be taken against with him, though he is a offender, he is a victim, but at the same time we can't leave him alone. And awareness, as the interaction and the awareness can be a good reason. And beside that, the government is doing its duty, but the NGOs and the other, I mean, non-government institutions should come forward to tackle with this problem in the country itself. And then at the international level, I have said that there are, I mean, there are chances to develop the law.
Yes, sir. So I would say thank you very much for our wonderful session. Now I think we should go with a question answer round, and
Thank you.
our participants have a few questions.
Yes,
So I would like my co-host Mahima Upadhyay to continue with the questions.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hope you understand the concept about drugs. Now, let's have some question and answer round. Would you like to have any questions regarding this webinar? You can direct. You can you can put down your questions on the chat box if you have any queries regarding this webinar or any questions regarding drugs. By the time, sir, we will put some questions if the person arrested under the false charge of drugs, what will be the legal rights of that person?
You see, this act provides a trial As in other matters, other criminal matters, the process of trial is there. Likewise, the process of trial is here also. It is not that the person is arrested and he will be convicted. No, it will take the trial, and it will commence with the charges. Charges would be framed, and he will have an ample opportunity to show that he is not the person who has been uh, who is involved in this case. So he has been falsely implicated. He has plenty of defense. So what are the constitutional right of a person, except those which have been exclusively dealt with in this act? He is having same right. He is having right to prove his innocence, and the prosecution is burdened to prove the guilt of the person beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay, sir. So one of the participants has asked the question that what are the legal ramification of drug addiction?
Legal ramification. I mean, the person who is consuming the this drug. So the consumption is also an offense. So if it deals within section 27 of the act. So he may be punished for 1 year, and as well as fine, as well as both.
Okay, sir.
And this act doesn't deal with how he will be getting treatment, all that. That should be the area. So good question.
So nowadays we are seeing that most of the youths are attracted or addicted towards drug. What do you think? Why this is so? That youths are more addicted towards drug. What are the reasons?
I think the stress, loneliness, and frustration in the life. And the biggest thing now, the drugs, which is very much available, because it is the internet is a very good source for them to get the drugs, because drug mafia is doing most of
Sir,
the
sorry to
internationally.
interrupt you. I think
Please.
there is a case also related to this thing. I heard about that case that internet is playing a role in drugs. And sir, if
Yes,
you
so
heard
many so
about
many
the
cases. So many cases are there. In
yes, sir.
2007, Supreme Court also dealt with the case where the modus operandi was came into the light, that how they deals with the drugs through internet, and even they deal with the drugs, and they used to make some false documents. And if the person is giving the amount through, because it's a net banking, and they got the amount through net banking. And some of the cases, interestingly, they make false document, the prescription of a doctor, and got the signature of the doctor falsely, and forge the documents, and then they used to deliver it through courier or through postal services. So that was also came into the light, and that was also dealt with by our investigating agencies. But since it is an international thing, you can't control everything on internet by using your intelligence and your investigating agency. So that is why it is an international problem, and it is to be dealt with the consonance with the country. I mean, every country is affected by this problem. So they should come forward, and they should make laws, because in 1961, when this convention was there was no internet, there was no such probability of the person who is getting these drugs so easily. So now it is time is changed, so law is to be made in that direction also.
Yes, sir. So, any further question, Mahima?
Yes, one of the participants had asked, what are the procedural safeguards must be followed under NDPS Act?
Procedural safeguard for a person.
Yes, sir.
No, if he want to take any drug that can, I mean, medicine in a form of medicine, then there should be a medical prescription. There should be a medical practitioner who will prescribe the medicine. Otherwise, they should take the any medicine. If they take, the it is now the it is mandatory to have what kind of ingredients are there in that particular medicine. And moreover, the medical practitioner and the chemist do not sell such type of drugs without the prescription of the doctors. So that practice should not be enhanced, that practice should be condemned, that going to the chemist and getting the prohibited drugs and going to somebody and getting the prohibited drugs, so that is an offense, obviously. But if a medical practitioner is giving some prescribing some medicine, that is altogether a different thing, that is safe.
I'm seeing that S. Saha is trying to speak something, but let me tell you that you can't speak anything. If you have any question, you can just type in the chat box. So, sir, I think that now no one has any question. If anyone has any question, they are free to type it in the chat box.
So one of our participants has asked from YouTube that alcohol is also included in these narcotic substances.
No, alcohol is not. It deals with there is another act, excise act, that deals with alcohol and other articles. So that is not under this act. Excise Act is a central act, and that is that governs and that control uh, uh, the license and production, sale, distribution, all of the related to alcohol.
Sir, can you mention some of the drugs that are mostly concerned in this NDPS Act?
Yes, the I have already mentioned plant-based synthetic narcotics, so opium and derivatives of its heroin, charas, ganja, hash. You name anything. There are so many drugs, but particularly there are specific name in medical science. There are international name of the drug, and there are name which is nationally. These drugs are not of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years old. These are hundreds and thousands years old drugs are also there. So cannabis, we can say bhang in India. It is not as a term in outside the country. So there are different names. So it has been elaborated, it has been given in the act itself, the name of their medical term, and name in international word, and in nationally in India, what is the name of the drug.
Okay, sir. Sir, I think no one has any
Sir,
queries.
this Daljit Dhiman is saying, why not, sir? Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Sir, that boy Daljit Dhiman is asking, why not, sir? The person who asked that question related to alcohol is now asking that, why not, sir?
Why alcohol is not prohibited?
Yes, sir.
No, consumption of liquor is permitted to some extent, and the act is dealing with this alcohol is excise act, and this is the policy of the government. If government suits it, find it suitable, then in some of the state it has been prohibited. In Haryana, in for some time, in Gujarat, in Bihar. So this is the policy-based decision. So government take the policy. If government feels it fit, government make it law regarding that. But alcohol is considered to be less damaging than these drugs are. The drugs are very, dangerous. So
Yes, sir, you are
you
right.
see, when you see, it's, I have said 13% of the under age 20 are consuming this, and out of them, 63% have to go to the rehabilitation center or to get the treatment. So how severe the repercussions of these drugs are, that can be seen by these data only. And nationally, internationally, the countries and the nations are worried about the results of these drugs. So these are very dangerous.
Sir, when Umang Khare is asking, the MP Excise Act and Central Excise Act, basic of them.
Excise Act, Central Excise Act, central government has power to make the law regarding these things, and as well as the state government also. But in as far as this NDPS Act, the central government, if makes any rules or law, the state government and the state is it is binding upon the state and to follow. It is somewhere in 70s, section 72 and all, that the state government is bound to follow those laws and the rules in this regard. So
Sir,
it should be in consonance with the central government and the state government, but the central government is having much power. It is there.
sir, we have few more questions. Like,
Yes.
sir, drugs, don't you think that tobacco should also be banned because it also harms the health or health the some way few drugs do?
Repeatedly, there is repeatedly demand of ban of tobacco, and recently, that is why these research and the medical research are there. So recently, this is found that the tobacco is also having dangerous. I mean, it is dangerous and having bad effect on the health, as it is also cancerous. So it is the government to take the decision as soon as possible, but the government is also waiting for another other researchers and all that. So they will take appropriate step at the appropriate stage.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Sir, RM, how do you know? How do I know if someone is addicted to drugs?
There is a test regarding that. Blood test when the person is consuming drugs repeatedly, and but at the same time, I would like to say that if the person has consumed these drugs way back 2 3 years back, so there is a difficulty to get it detected in the blood test also. But if a person is regularly using drugs, that can be detected through his or her uh, urine test, blood test, and other tests.
Okay, so Kapil Koshik is asking, is there any international treaty on abuse of drugs?
Yes, yes, there is only one and single treaty convention, that is in 1961, as I have mentioned, and that is after the concise and consonance of all the countries. So that is why 116 drugs have been mentioned in that convention, and India is also having 111 drugs. So that is also in consonance with that convention. So, but I feel that more conventions, more treaties, and more elaborated things are required in this directions, because when it was done in 1961, so there are so many changes. So the as I have mentioned, that the drug mafia is nowadays very powerful. So more conventions, more treaties are required.
Okay, Sir Umang Khare is asking about the quantity of liquor consumption and trade. Like he is going towards liquor and he's asking about the consumption and trade related to liquor.
The trade is obviously under the license. So the government, with the directions, will issue the license, and the conditions of the license are to be fulfilled. First, it is to be seen. Obviously, the conditions are given: how much you can trade, you can produce, you can have I mean production. So it is under the license, but the consumption is very difficult to say, that there is nothing on as such on this consumption, because but if a person, if he drives, if he is dangerous to other people, there are various actions, there are various punishments and the law related to that. Just I have mentioned 185 of Motor Vehicle Act and the other acts. If a person under the impression of liquor and he is doing some crime, then there may be severe punishment and the severe repercussions to that. But drinking of liquor is not an offense itself.
Okay, sir. So, any further question, participants? You can ask both on Zoom as well as on YouTube. So, by the time we get any further question, I think we should circulate the feedback form. So, guys, I'm
Okay.
circulating a feedback form, and please try to fill the form. Sir, I think now nobody has any question. Sir, wait.
Okay.
Uh, Sir, Umang Khare is asking, ask him to guide the participants about the seriousness of consumption of alcohol and drugs.
No doubt these are having serious repercussions, but it depends upon the body and the individual, what kind of repercussions are there in once a person consume it. But definitely our researchers and the person who are in the field of research and got it abusive. So we are at this stage that the law has been made for the persons who are dealing with that. So definitely consumption, the drugs consumption would be a severe abusive and in this regard. But it can't be said. Everybody's body react to everything differently. So that is why the researchers also made the part of these drugs in the medicine, and the medical practitioner would be the best person who can tell that which kind of medicine will affect which kind of all that. He is the best person to tell.
So we
Sir, we
have
have a few questions more.
Yes.
Like what properties in drugs make them addicting?
This is also a expert, a medical expert can tell, because this is how much of the drug can be taken in different scenario. It will affect differently. It will react differently. A medical practitioner will tell about that. We can tell that if a person takes a drug, that how much the punishment he will get. If a person again take that and again deal with that, and the severe punishment is there. If the person is not restrained by the law, and the law will take its own course, and he'll have to see the repercussion of that, and that is
Uh,
important.
Sir, Daljit Dhiman is asking, what you
Yes.
think about Deepika Padukone's case?
No, individually, on a particular case, I can't say anything. But if the person is guilty, he will be punished according to law. If someone is, as I have already said, if a person is found guilty to have consumption of the same, then the punishment is not that much of severe, that much severe. It is for 1 year and some fine, 10,000 and more than that. and a person can be punished with both of these. But at the same time, if he is dealing with the drugs, if he is trading with the drugs, if he is purchasing the drugs to hand over to somebody, if he is doing it as a peddler, if he is financing, if he is abetting, if he is attempting to make any offense out of this act, so the person will get the punishment as per the law, and it will be more severe than that of one person is consuming the drugs.
Sir, Daljit Dhiman is also asking, can anyone be convicted on the basis of WhatsApp chat only? I think he is asking it related to Deepika Padukone case only.
No, on WhatsApp chat, no, there are two things. One, what is the evidence? What is the admissibility of the evidence in the eye of law? And what offense he has done? If chat shows that there was a consumption of drug, and it is proved in consonance with the provisions of Evidence Act. See, these are the evidence which is to be proved. These are the electronic evidence and are to be dealt with and to be proved before the court as per the amended Evidence Act.
Yes, so.
Section 65B will also have its role, and other things will also have a role. And if it is proved before the court that these chats are genuinely made by the person who is an accused in this case, and then after proving this fact that these are the chats and proved, now what kind of offense is made out? Whether the person is has consumed these drugs, whether the person was dealing in these drugs, so that will be seen at that stage, and the offense will be made out after the evidence is proved. The same is
Uh,
the process of the this chat, as we have having documentary evidence.
Okay,
Documentary
sir.
evidence is, and the chat is also covered under these Evidence Act and is to be proved accordingly.
Yes, sir.
so,
So Megha Sharma is asking, there are few drugs that have a good impact, like they help in anxiety, lack of appetite, etc. Only if taken in a limited quantity. So do you
No,
think the government should give the permission to sell those
no,
drugs?
that is their perception, that is her perception, that is his perception. Everybody is not free to have a perception that this medicine or that this drug is having good effect or not, because the medical practitioner who has spent so many years and the researchers who are giving reports on research, they are the person expert can tell. So individual cannot say. If you will ask to an individual that which drug is good, which is bad, how much is the content, there would be a chaos. There would be a problem, because I think at the time of taking drug and the consuming consumption of drug, anybody says that this is bad. So this is personal perception that
Yes,
cannot be taken
you
into consideration.
you have said it earlier that people take drugs to relieve
Yes,
them from
they may
stress and
find
frustration.
they may found and they may found of this and found that this is good. So that is their perception.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think now no one has any question or query. So I think we should leave the meeting now because I don't know that people are not asking any question now. And
Okay,
I think we are done with all the questions and all.
okay.
So, dear participants, do you have any further question? Sir, Megha Sharma is again asking, drugs in pharmacies to the person who have the prescription.
Please repeat.
So she said, drugs in pharmacies to the person who have the prescription. Like she is asking if a doctor prescribe the drug. So what should be the procedure for it? Should she or he take the drugs or not?
No, no, these drugs are not to be prescribed by the doctor as it is. There are medicine in which the drugs have been used. So it is generally it is not there. that the doctor will prescribe the drugs like this. No, after the research, how much is the quantity of drug, this narcotic drugs, I'm talking about narcotic drugs. So how much of the quantity is to be used in a medicine? There are other ingredients also. So after that, the medicine would be there. After the research and after this all, after this all research, this medical medicine would be in the market, and the doctor can prescribe. Then it can be taken by the, it can be taken by the person, because this is the field of expertise. Huh? So doctor
Yes,
has
sir.
a very good experience of it, that how much of the drug will not affect in bad manner and all that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
I think she asked both the question in the in same as a same question, but we got it late. Okay, sir. So anyone has any further question, or we should end up with a meeting?
I think no one has such queries regarding drugs and youth. So, shall we end this webinar? I think so. No
By
one's just
the
asked.
way, you guys have filled the feedback form or not? You can reply this at least. People are replying that they have filled the feedback form. So I think now we are done with the webinar. So we should end up with it. And sir, at last, we are very thankful to you that you take a wonderful webinar and you question and you answered every question. So thank you so much, sir, for it.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Janvi. Thank you,
Yes,
Mahima.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much.
Uh, mm. So, guys, I am just ending the meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mahima. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Janvi.